Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Don.
Tell me how you got that shot.
You want to tell me how I got that shot? How I really got that shot? Is that even the right lyric? I don't think I messed up. That was supposed to be Spice Girls. Shout out Spice Girls.
Jokes are always better when you have to explain them.
I'll show you what I got. I'll show you what I want. What I really. I'll show you how I got that shot. What I really shot. I really want to show you how I got that shot. Nailed it! I'm going home.
Oh my goodness. Did we consider rehearsing that beforehand? Absolutely not.
That's why it's so good. Because I'm a content machine, for the record.
Absolutely.
Fun fact, a couple of weeks ago, I was coming in for a shoot. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
I was quite tired.
Mm-hmm.
Well, opposite, I am actually going to be going to a shoot right after this.
I'm excited we get you on the energetic end of your day.
I'm sorry for the guests that will not get me, but that's their problem.
That'll be fine.
Yeah.
That'll be fine.
So what are we talking about today? Oh, that's right.
Remember the song?
Yeah. No, I blacked it out.
So, we've done this once before.
It's another one of our recurring series.
Yes.
Ooh, I do like these.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about how we got that shot. So we each picked a photo that we've taken, and we're just going to walk you through how we did it.
So for those listening, sucks for you.
No, for those listening only, we will be putting the images up on Instagram.
Instagram, sorry. Instagram. So you'll be able to see them.
Yes.
They're both on are they on your, mine are on my Instagram profile too. You'll be able to find mine.
Yeah, but mine is buried inside a reel.
Oh, okay.
So it's not the cover image, but this couple is up on my Instagram. But we'll share them on, what's the Instagram?
The one with two photographers.
The one with two photographers. So you can see them there and then follow along with the episode. Okay.
Out of the way.
Yes.
You're going first.
I remembered it this time.
Because I had to sing that cool song. You have to go first.
Okay.
Explain the image.
All right. So this was a wedding out at Cape Canaveral on the beach. And
Not on a spaceship.
not on a spaceship.
Okay.
Spaceship, no. Not in the space shuttle, not on Kennedy Space Center.
That's me. That's only me.
Yes, but we could see Kennedy Space Center. Actually, it was the strip of beach closest to where the cruise ships come out.
Oh, okay.
From Port Canaveral.
Yeah, I know that.
So we had lots of cruise ships in the background of our photos, which should indicate to you what time the wedding was. So it was a 2-hour wedding. We were there from 3:30 to 5:30, and this was after the time change. So it was well before sunset and before even golden hour, right? And so we talk about like when we get inspiration images from couples and how like, okay, I know you want all of these like golden hour pretty pictures, but like your ceremony's on the beach at 3:30 in the afternoon and
There's no golden hour.
there's no golden hour. There's
Golden hour is another 4 hours.
yes. Yeah. So we were nearing the end. And I wanted to do my best to give them some of that golden hour look. Like, it was really hard to fake it on the beach. I did some where it was really tight on them, and I had to crouch down so far to try to get the sun, like, near them in the background because it was still so high in the sky. But I got some with, like, a flare coming off, like, the groom's shoulder, like, trying to just fill an image with all of the yummy light. But it wasn't like any of their inspiration photos, and I wanted to try to give them at least one. So this is the boardwalk area that goes back to the parking lot, and luckily it was very lush. there was a lot of vegetation right there. So I was lighting the couple from the front. I had a light to my right.
I'm not yelling at you.
Yeah, You still have to go to work. You better rein it in.
Your story is intoxicating. Please continue. Do you have any more Oreos? I didn't brush my teeth. We both had 4 Oreos before we came on.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Okay.
So I had one light on them at like a 45-degree angle from the front, just to fill in. There was a ton of light bouncing off the sun onto them. But just so I could like control it a little bit, I still had a light from the front
This is what we talk about all the time too, is like, did you need a light on them? No.
No.
But does it fill and control everything?
Yes.
And that's why we do it. And if you looked at this photo, I would have said, this could have been natural light.
Right.
And that's the whole point sometimes. What people get lost in lighting, saying, well, it looks too flashy. Well, that's because you're making it look flashy.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Continue, sorry.
Yeah, well, and for me, most often, I'm using my light to help me with color.
That's true.
Like, I want to neutralize, like, that. Sometimes the shade is, like, so deeply blue, and, like, no matter what you do to your white balance, you can't make them look, like, you can't make skin tones or dresses look the color they're supposed to look.
God forbid the green bushes are bouncing
Well,
a little bit.
yeah, forget that. But then I wanted to try to simulate that there was sunlight coming through these bushes, and so I put a light behind them.
Sorry.
I wish I had brought a gel with me to like a CTO or probably quarter or half CTO that I could have put on the light that's behind them.
What's a CTO?
So like color temperature orange. It's like a little.
I mean, I know what it is, but
so using the MagMod system is just like a disc that's that color that you can magnetize to your light so that your light is coming out at a different color temperature. So I would have ideally done that.
Yeah.
But because I didn't have it on me, thinking, oh, we're going to be out on the beach, what am I going to do with colored gels like at 3 p.m. on the beach? What I ended up doing is most of this was all in camera, but then I did select the background and warm up the background to try to make those like bits of light look a little warmer. Like it could have been closer to sunset. So like you can see around her hair is really warm. And there was sunlight coming through that vegetation because it was really, really tall. So you could see it. Yeah. But it wasn't particularly warm because it was really just in the shade of all the other vegetation. And like I said, the sun was still really high in the sky at this point. But you know, I did a little some trying to warm everything up, make sure the sand around them where my light didn't quite hit was matching the color temperature of them where my light did hit.
It's important.
But I did most of that in Lightroom to where I could just sync it all. So this whole series of images, I was able to sync all of the masking.
Because I see that every once in a while where someone will do one photo but then leave the rest like they were, and you're like, if you're gonna do one, you can't just.
I will share. I did do one more in this same area where I just wanted to play, and I had where did it go? I had Photoshop.
Oh, we're doing
like,
two? I didn't
add vegetation for me to the top of the scene so you couldn't tell that it was just like leading to a parking lot.
Right.
But it was like too much. It was almost like I just left it in because like it's kind of funny. Like there's mountains in the background. I had to crop the mountains out that Photoshop added. But yeah, same idea, like just trying to build some warmth and sunset feeling for them.
Very well done. Good pose, strong pose, leading lines, all the things people like.
And part of the reason for their pose too was to block my backlight behind them. So I wanted them close together, but like them being close together blocked the light stand.
Normally, like I always set, usually like my grooms, I usually like if on this side it'd be his right leg towards her, the left leg open so it doesn't look like he's plowing into her or like blocking the camera. But because of his height and just the way it is, him stepping towards her actually totally works.
Yeah, we did a lot of non-traditional things trying to help out their height difference. Yeah. Because he was quite a bit taller than her. And she was barefoot almost the whole day. If she might have her flip-flops on by now, I can't remember. But yeah, there's a big height difference. So
little flower hidden Easter egg. Even this little clearing above their head kind of gives like a little arch, a little. You know, I feel like
there's a little breathing room above them.
Yeah.
They're not like blocked in. But yeah, and then also they are blocking the cars in the parking lot that are right on the other side of this boardwalk.
You would have zero idea.
Yeah.
And that's the magic of photography.
And that's one of the ones I showed them day of too, and they were like so excited to have cool lighting and, the, like, sunset look. Okay, Jacob coming on here to start this episode talking about how...
You should have said it. I'm good to go.
Maybe the Oreos were
make cocaine?
a poor choice.
All right. That's how we got the shot.
All right. What about you?
My shot is from... Do you know where this is?
I mean, I know because you told me, but...
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have been able to guess just from the shot.
It is from a... Well, clearly it's an elevator, right?
Yes.
And it's... The way I lit it is a haunted elevator, so where could this be?
It's a very famous elevator.
It's some sort of tower of terror, probably.
It's very scary, big, tall elevator.
Can you guess how many lights this is, though?
I would guess 3. 1 right behind them. 1 with the purple. Oh, or is it 4? And 1 with the blue on the ceiling. I don't know.
It's 3.
Okay.
You're right. So, correct. So, this is actually in the exit area of Tower of Terror. This is unload. So, this is the elevator standing from is an actual real working elevator. I used to work at Tower of Terror. That one actually goes all the way up to the 14th floor in between the drop shafts. It's a real elevator. If you took this 1 floor up, the cast break room would literally be right above you. But anyway, so, you can't really, when the ride's not running, you can't go near like the real ride elevators because they're not even real elevators, they're ride vehicles. So I like to use this one, and I always forget sometimes how easy silhouettes are, but you forget to do them. I don't know if you're the same way, but sometimes like you can shoot. I had set this up with a light and a grid because I want it so dark and I want all this to show. I don't want light spilling anywhere because look at all these lines and shapes going on. So I did a few with the grid and it was fine, but it just felt like it was missing. Like it felt that it was too spotlight on them, but I couldn't get enough of the full body because I had to take the grid off. And then I did that. It was too much. Yeah. And I'm just sitting there fighting with myself. Of course, this is happening in real time in milliseconds. I'm just like, why don't I just do a silhouette? It'd be so much easier. So the purple light that you see in the background, or pinkish, whatever, is actually 1 light. So behind this is an actual elevator shaft. On the other side is the 2 unloads, and that goes into another door. So I actually have the light pointed towards the camera, but it's hitting the shaft and then just going that way.
That's why I wasn't sure if it was that was 1 light or 2 separate lights because
light.
It's going to both sides.
So it's basically, think of it like a V. It's hitting right here and then going that way. Which causes that spill, and there's a couple like indentations.
Hey there, 2 photographer family. This is Jacob from the edit room. At this point, you're probably wondering, why does the audio sound a little bit off? Definitely doesn't have anything to do with Dawn not hitting the record button while we were starting our podcast. Now, at this point, I want to see if you guys from home can notice the exact moment when she notices she hasn't hit record and then tries to secretly hit record. It's really tough to see, so really watch carefully.
Right here in the concrete, which prevents it from spilling even further. So then I put a... You good? You sure?
I'm looking at your phone.
Okay. So then obviously the silhouette, the easiest way to do a silhouette, if you know this, is putting someone against a very bright background. Obviously most commonly done at sunsets with a very bright sky. You just underexpose the crap out of them, so just the sky is showing. Boom. Well, in this case, can't do that because it's pitch black in there.
Right.
So you just take a light, and the light is on a stand, and it is perfectly behind her. And it might even be between them, and I had to Photoshop the line out. It depends on the couple because it is a small spot.
Well, and her dress is very fitted
Correct.
on her thighs, so...
So it is literally pointed at the elevator, away from the camera, with a burst of light at a pretty high power, which causes that. And then, though, it still needed something. So I've still got this purple. I have them looking good. It's still dark up front. So then I take another light, a speed light, and it is literally pointed straight up behind them as well. And that is pointed straight up. So I literally have a light coming this way and then a light behind it going that way. And that light pointed up in blue is hitting this spot. The trick, too, is balancing all this with an exposure that, like, I did not want to see a lot of everything, but I really wanted to see those kind of spooky lights. So your you're actually shooting at a quicker shutter than you would think. Like this looks like a 60th, a 40th of a second shot. It's actually probably like 125 because I don't want to see a lot of that stuff. I want to hide it, and I'm going to let these lights fill in the shadows. But just enough for those lights to pop. Just enough. And still probably at f4, like 125, probably like 1,000 ISO.
Yeah.
Somewhere along there probably. And it just turns into this really spooky, scary, good-looking shot and a very Terror of Terror vibes.
I like it. I like it a lot. I do the same trick if I'm under the Breeze Bay Arch at Cinderella Castle.
Yeah.
Because I'll have, especially if I'm doing a silhouette with like Main Street in the background, and I'll have one light pointing to the couple and then one light pointing up to like illuminate the curtains. Illuminating
arches or any kind of thing goes, it's secrets. Use them. Anytime I have a couple under anything, if it's dark, I always try to illuminate the arch above them. It doesn't have to be a lot. It's very similar to like your light, just adding a little fill, again, separates them, gives you something to look at.
Yeah. When we talked with Amanda, when we interviewed her on the podcast, we talked about like how ring photos are like a really nice kind of memento photo from the day for couples to hang because it doesn't feel like you're like showing off your own self on your walls. Like it's a pretty piece of art, and I feel like silhouettes can be the same way. Like it feels more like art to share rather than like, look, I plastered my walls with my wedding photos. For people who are self-conscious about that.
And I know who this is, but no one else knows. No one else. The couple itself might not even remember. Like,
right.
They're like, is that us?
Yeah.
So it's just I love silhouettes, and I'll be the first to admit that I forget to do them all the time. I get so enamored, like, okay, I got to make sure I light them, make sure they look good. And I feel like, what if I just turn this camera off?
Well,
they're so easy.
When we do so many daytime weddings, like you said, there's not really the opportunity to do a good silhouette.
Correct.
If it's midday. If it's 4 p.m. and you're doing your newlyweds, like how would you even do it? So.
And this is actually at, and I remember it is, obviously it's pre-park, so it's probably 8 a.m.-ish. And the actual work lights are on in there. It's not full, like as dark as you think it is. So I'm definitely shooting at a
little bit higher shutter speed,
because
you weren't walking around like with flashlights and
correct.
You could actually
because it's dark in there, but when the work lights come on, they're actually brighter, and the work lights are actually just the regular lights. They just turn on brighter. So
you might.
I might be at 200th of a second at like.
And a much lower ISO.
Yeah.
Because those lights would be hitting the floor and illuminating it if you were showing enough of it.
I'm underexposing the poop out of that photo.
Yeah, that was a tough thing with mine was like I couldn't, as much as I wanted to bring up the background and like make it feel like there's all this light behind them, there was still so much light on them from the front, just from the sun. Even though we weren't in the sun, all of the sunlight bouncing off the sand right in front of them, I couldn't drag my shutter very much without blowing them out. Yeah. So. And
I've done that photo before in different versions of it. I'm sure I have. But that one really catch my eye because I started using the back, like that back hallway light up. Sometimes I've done like just a tight shot on the elevator or I've lit it like that. So I'm just looking through to see if I've done anything else similar. I know I have, but.
Yeah, it's so hard to have like a uniform. So hard to have like a uniform light on your background with still having light on them from the front because the spill from that main light just ruins the background.
I'm just going through you can go through my Instagram profile too. I'm not joking when I say I light up arches.
Yeah.
I am probably the king. Like everything we're seeing is like, yeah, that arch is lit up. If they're under some kind of arch, it's lit up.
Yep, there's another one. Doesn't look like you forget to do silhouettes.
I feel like shut up. But I feel like when I come away, When I come away from a wedding, though, I swear 9 times out of 10, it's like, I should have done a silhouette.
But when you do them, they're so great to share.
Is that a giant bird?
Yeah, we have a lot of wildlife in our backyard. They better not be eating my veggies that I'm growing, though.
Oh, I do like veggies. What are you growing?
We're growing lettuce, broccoli, carrots.
I didn't really care. I'm sorry.
Tomatoes, peppermint and basil.
Anyway, if you have any questions on how we got those shots further, please leave us a comment and we will answer them if we're missing something like, well, how did you do this part? Why didn't you do this?
Well, I guess we could both mention, I mean, it's the same thing, but like what lights were you using? I know you mentioned you used a speed light, but what about your other lights?
So the backlight was both lights. So the backlight in the hallway was a Godox 200, 8200, and the light that's causing the silhouette that's hitting the elevator was an 8200, and then the light that is going straight up is just a Godox speed light. God only knows which one. 86, 863. I don't know. 8600. I looked down there like it was there, but it's not.
It's on the other side.
I always keep a speed light on a foot, on a hot shoe. Not a hot shoe, a hot
little foot.
Always with me at all times because that's the easiest thing to just go mag mod, put it somewhere. Especially if I need something that just needs to go up.
Yeah, or if you can rest it somewhere to be a rim light or a backlight. Yeah. Mine were, both of my lights were 8200s with mag mod spheres on them.
Yeah. Both of those were not going to have, they were going to have the gels on them, but no spheres because I didn't want any. I wanted full spread. I didn't want any softness because it was a silhouette. So I wanted, and then, but all three had gels. It's 3 gels, no spheres.
All of those spheres that I used still have sand in them, by the way.
Always.
I need to bring them in from my car and like soak them or something to get all the sand off. So.
You don't shoot silhouettes. Apparently I shoot a lot of silhouettes. I don't know anymore. Look, lit up arch. I will never speak again.
We're never going to be able to do this series again because we've just already covered.
Well, that's everything I shoot, so
photos.
I messed up. All right, so what's on our what did we shoot this week?
Yeah. So February and part of March were like super duper slammed. And now I'm in this like weird slow time where it was actually slow enough that I could send my gear out finally to get cleaned and checked on.
I didn't know that was a thing.
So I'm a member of Fuji Professional Services. So you get a certain number of like
FPS.
Yes. You get a certain number of free cleanings and they just check through everything, make sure it's in tip-top shape. I got a message that there was like a hair caught in one of my lenses. I don't know. I didn't see it. And they updated firmware on the cameras, all that. So it was slow enough that that's happening. And then I just rented gear for a couple of jobs at the very end of the week. So I had a conference with one of our friends, Jaime. So
shout out Jaime.
He set up a headshot station, and then his wife and I were doing like the roaming Candid Doc. And it was actually Candid Doc. I asked the woman who was our contact from the company, or from the convention, and I was like, so what are you looking for?
Yes.
And she's like, well, we just want, these are for marketing, so like happy, excited, engaged people, greeting each other, shaking hands, hugs, like good conversations, laughing, whatever. And I was like, okay, do you want me to like grab any people together, get some groups together to smile? She's like, no, we don't really have any use for that. And I was like, awesome.
Was she single?
I did do one group photo because it was like an important group of people, but the room they were in, they had them in, I've never seen this before. It was like the UN. They had them in this like U shape and each person had their own microphone.
Oh.
But then that meant all the microphones had all the wires going down to the center. So like they were having this really important conversation, but like you couldn't capture the interaction because they were all spread out in this U shape with microphones. And then the wires were all over the place. So anyways, so we just did a group photo of that group to capture them. And then I had a yacht starship wedding with Stephanie.
That's right.
This was actually a wedding. It was supposed to happen in the fall. And I was going to be lead on the wedding because you and Stephanie were already doing a different wedding.
Correct.
But it was when Hurricane Milton came through.
Yeah.
And since, it was going to be on a boat in Tampa Bay the next day, it got postponed until now. So that meant Stephanie was free, so she was lead and I was second. But it was a good day. It was a little bit rushed because we got a late start. Not Stephanie and I. The cruise itself.
The whole thing.
Yeah, had a late start. But yeah, that was it.
What did I do? Oh, I did another family portrait. Mm-hmm. Been lots of family portraits lately. I don't know why. Families love me. Or all my couples are getting married and having children.
And having babies.
Yeah. I did something I haven't done in a while, was a group photo. A corporate group photo. But a 100-person group photo.
Nice.
Multiple lights. And luckily we were outdoors. And it was, just thank God, at this hotel, outdoors, back to the sun. And there was a lower level with stairs. So I could stay down there. And they could be on the staircase, so no need to set up any kind of...
No bleachers or
anything. No risers, no
anything.
nothing. Just a perfect staircase with a hotel in the back. Sun's not in their face, so it wasn't awful. The problem was, so we had set up, and of course then the director was like, oh, well, afterwards can we... It was supposed to be just the one group photo. Can we do like a photo of like a couple, just like 2 breakdowns of like people from the U.S. and people from Brazil or something? Of course. But then like I had said, all right, the people that aren't... So the reception that they were having, their outdoor reception, was actually up on that level behind them. Oh. But you couldn't see them because of the stairs. And I said, before you leave, okay, everyone come down here. Don't go back there. So I start shooting one. And then, of course, when that's done, I was checking it. And one of my assistants was like, okay, you guys can go. And they went into the back. And then the other group comes up. And so I have all these people in the back. And I'm just like, really? We try to control it, and now I have all these people I got to take out. Luckily, it went from obviously a wide photo to a vertical photo, so it's much easier than that. The wide photo looks the full group photo looks fantastic, but then the individual, because it went from 100 to 30 people, and then there's 70 people like farting in the background. When I controlled it, when I turned my back for 1 second and.
That's unfortunate.
My assist just was like, yeah, you guys can go back up there. We had talked about this. We had many discussions about this.
It's okay.
It's fine.
It happens.
And then I had a Universal shoot with Stephanie. This was a couple we had photographed a year ago at their wedding, and they came back for an anniversary shoot, if you will. And it was a very good time. Always good with this couple. Universal was... We're in spring break-ish, like even though our county is done, now we're getting everyone's spring breaks from around the country. So it was busy, but, and I never do this, but right when we walked in, there was some, of course, the cast members like, oh my God, team members, sorry. We're like, oh, you guys just get married? And, it's hard enough to be like, no, it was a year ago. Just, we just got married. So they gave us all, a party of 4, Stephanie and I and the couple, a express pass for any ride. And if you know what they usually give out express passes, but what do they not include?
Hagrid's and Velocicoaster.
This included both of them, any ride. So after we did the shoot, they were kind of like, do you guys want to stay and go on Hagrid's? And I was like, yeah. So we literally walked back, dropped all of our gear back to our cars in the parking garage. Walked all the way back. They had brought clothes to change into it and put all their stuff in a locker. And then we went and rode Hagrid's.
That's fun.
And
that's a long walk back, though.
And the crazy thing it was a long walk. So we go on Hagrid's, and Hagrid's doesn't have Express yet. So it literally is a front of the line pass. And we get on there, and I didn't see it. Usually I'm pretty good about this, but the groom had kept his water bottle, and Universal is usually no loose items, right? Well, they catch it when we're on load. Like, we were already on the bikes. Oh. And he's like, you can't have that. And the guy's like, the groom was like, and he's like, we can take it, but if we take it, we throw it away. Otherwise, you have to get off. And it was his water bottle. So, but I was with him, and you know how it's 2 per row, but Stephanie and the bride are in another car because we wanted them both to ride on the bicycle. Because they had never, this was their first ride. Oh, so we're like, you guys ride on the bikes. We'll be in the car. So we get off, and
we walk. So they go on, like, you know how if you've been on the load, it doesn't stop. It is a continuous omnimover type of the loading area. So we get off, have to go. They have some lockers by the load area. We have to get the free locker, do that. They bring us right back to the front of the line. So it's not a big deal. But like, we had obviously not ridden with them. They put us right on. We get on. We ride. As we get off, though, we're exiting. There's Stephanie and the bride, and they're like, hey. They're like, oh, sorry. So they put us on. They're like, come ride again.
What?
As the four of us. So we got to ride again.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So you got two express passes, basically.
Not even an express pass. We literally were at unload, and they were just like, hey, get back on. And this time...
And to be during a busy time of year, too. It's not like it was crickets.
Yeah. And this time, because the groom was like, I don't want to ride the bike again. And so I got to ride the bicycle with him. And you know how they load you? They don't really load you. It's just 2 per row. So the next 2, Stephanie and the bride got the last row. So that means we got, because they don't do front row line at Hagrid's either. So we got the front row. And I'd never ridden in the front row at Hagrid's, let alone on the bicycle. That is wild. You really do feel like you're just flying around.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So 2 back-to-back rides on Hagrid's on a very busy Universal Spring Break day.
That's so cool. So jealous.
And that's why we do it.
For the free rides.
And then I had a wedding or something. I don't know. I shot a wedding on Saturday. That's about it.
You talked about the importance.
Yeah. It was a freelance wedding, so.
Yeah.
That's what we did.
Cool. All right. Well.
Not photography corner.
We film a little bit ahead.
We do?
Because it takes us some time to like edit and get the episodes out. But in our real time...
This is May 2nd we're filming this on. This is November 2025.
The sad thing is I don't know what to refute you with without looking at something. I don't know what the day actually is.
It's March. I don't know what
March
day.
It's March 31st. It's the 31st.
Don't tell our secrets.
But in real time,
yeah,
some big news has just dropped.
Big, huge.
In the Marvel world.
What was it?
Did you watch the recap video or did you watch the live video?
I started the live video because I heard some rumblings online about how they were going to do this cast thing. So I turn it on and I just see this like chair with Chris Hemsworth's name on it. I'm like, okay, so they're going to show. And then I sat there for like 5 minutes and I'm like, is it Frozen? So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to leave. And then I kept seeing on the internets that they were like, no, they're just releasing it. I was like, well, I am not watching it.
So it was them releasing the cast for Doomsday.
Or at least the cast they want you to know about.
Right.
So far.
But what they did, so I only knew it was released after the little short recap video was out. So it's 25 like director's chairs with the names on the back of all the chairs.
Yeah.
But then the next morning, Ryan was like, can you believe this? They actually did that live and it took 2.5 hours. And then we saw something else and it was like, no, actually it was 5.5 hours.
It's 5 hours.
To go through 25 names.
Because I think every single one got 15 minutes or something like that.
That is insane. We watched the Screen Crush video. The guy, Colton, he was like...
Shout out Colton.
He's like, what did you do yesterday? Because I spent 5 hours.
You should watch so I know you didn't watch Severance, so you can yell at her later. But we literally would watch Severance, and then we'd have to watch the Screen Crush video with Colton so we could actually understand. Oh, that makes sense.
That's what we're doing with Daredevil right now. We watch Daredevil episode and then immediately watch the Screen Crush episode for like all the Easter eggs and things you might have missed. But yeah, so what did you think of the Doomsday announcements with the cast?
I thought it was, first off, they're not going to tell you everything. I almost prefer you not tell you everything because you want some surprises. Obviously, the X-Men, the 90s X-Men was kind of a big, like, okay.
Yeah, I was surprised about that with like Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart. And,
I mean...
Well, it was Cyclops too, right?
Cyclops and...
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, what was it? Not Jean Grey, not Storm.
Nightcrawler. And...
Beast, but we already knew Beast.
Yeah, we knew Beast.
Because he was in Marvels. Spoiler.
The one that's all blue.
Mystique.
She was
Rebecca
on there too.
Romaine.
I was like totally drawing a blank.
Jennifer Lawrence. So that, I figured at the very least, I'm treating Doomsday and Secret Wars kind of like Endgame and Infinity War. Mm-hmm. It's one movie. Mm-hmm. It's 2 movies,
But it's one movie.
One 6-hour movie.
And by the end of the movie, we're going to see every single character that has ever Marvel, right?
Yes.
Like, everyone.
Yes.
So don't worry. Like, every character that was in, you're going to see all the Spider-Mens, you're going to see all the X-Men's, you're going to probably see, you're going to see Jennifer Lawrence probably as Mystique, you're going to see, who else? Everybody. Iron Fist, the Punisher, Daredevil.
Yeah, because
She-Hulk,
Wolverine, and Deadpool,
they're
they
gonna
were
be in
in
it.
the group. Neither was I forget his name, but Daredevil. But he had already spilled that he's in Doomsday.
Yeah.
He had already accidentally spilled that.
Well, they're going to do another one, they said.
Yeah.
Like, because Robert Downey Jr. said, do we need more? And Marvel's like, yeah, we'll do some more. So don't worry, like, you're going to see everybody. This is, especially because the movies haven't been hitting as hard, I think Disney's going to spend every amount of money. I wouldn't be surprised if they do the DC thing where you might see some unfortunate characters that have humans that have passed away, getting their estates to, like...
Well, they did it for Star Wars.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, I could see Chadwick Boseman making an appearance, and...
Oh, yeah, he was in the... Not Chadwick Boseman, but the other leader from Wakanda.
Mbappe. That's not right.
He was on the chair list
and so
already.
was Shuri. She
Okay.
was in it. She's she is Black Panther, so she's going to be in it. The full Thunderbolts. I'm actually looking forward to the Thunderbolts movie.
Me too.
It's probably the one I've been looking forward to the longest.
Did you see the new Captain America?
No, because I was on the cruise.
Okay,
my
so
son has seen it.
We haven't seen it either, and we're debating if we need to go see it before, because I think we want to see Thunderbolts in theater, and we were kind of trying to wait to watch Captain America at home, but we feel like we're already it's gonna be close, and then like we're gonna have to see Captain America before we see Thunderbolts.
Probably. I don't think if you need to, but you probably should.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I haven't seen it because it was when I was on the 2 weeks of cruises, and just haven't been able to see it since.
Yeah, it was on Valentine's Day. We normally, like, because Ryan sometimes gets sick at movie theaters with his migraines, like they're triggers for him. So we like pick and choose. Like we have to be willing to get a headache, or he has to be willing to get a headache to go see it. So
it's gotta be real good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we heard some things that maybe Captain America wasn't real good. So
My son liked it.
He did?
I mean, he's 15, so he's that right audience. He said, like, I think people were thinking, he's like, it was like very much like the other Captain Americas, where it's more thriller than just,
political
action.
thriller rather than... And it wasn't sci-fi.
Yeah.
Like, a little, but not...
I always feel bummed for the new
multiverse
cast
stuff.
because, you had the Captain America, and Falcon is now Captain America, and everyone's always going to think Chris Evans. So it's a tough... No matter how good you are, and even though that's followed in the comics, that's what happens in the comics, it doesn't mean that, like... You know what I mean? And all these new characters, but we had the old characters for 10 years. It's just all these new guys, I feel bad because it's tough.
And with the new characters, or with the old characters, like that was like this golden age of those movies. It wasn't even just like, oh, they happened to play those parts at one point.
Yeah.
Like no one was devastated that like Edward Norton wasn't the Hulk anymore.
They're
like,
also iconic now. Like
right, that's what I'm saying. Like it was just in this heyday of those movies.
But then like Shang-Chi, like he should have had 2 movies already. Because he was and I'm going to say a unique character. He wasn't the new Captain America. He was his own thing. And it was a great movie. And then they've kind of ignored him. Yeah, he's going to be in Doomsday, but like he should have already had, in the old days, like there was 3 Iron Mans before Avengers.
Before anything else, yeah.
There were 2 Hulks or 2 Thors. I mean, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what did you think about the announcement that there's a reason why Robert Downey Jr. is Doomsday? And
I kind of figured.
Their characters are connected.
Because I figured he's going to be a Tony Stark variant of whatever universe he comes from. I'm pretty confident that the Fantastic Four is going to be, obviously it's in an alternate universe. We already know that. They already said that. It's in a different multiverse because their planet is definitely getting destroyed. Their universe is definitely getting destroyed, probably by Galactus. And they're going to somehow escape into ours. Like that's already, just from the trailer alone of the Fantastic Four, like clearly that is not New York in 616.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen. And I wonder if Doom is a part of that, or if Doom is, there never was a Doom in the X-Men universe, so he could be from Patrick Stewart's. Because Secret Wars is about 2 groups fighting. So part of me is like wondering if it's going to be the X-Men, or if this is another version of the X-Men that we don't know from a different universe, and they're bad X-Men. I thought about that too, where they're like, and they use Doctor Doom as like their thing, and so they fight. And we all know at the end of Secret Wars, like everything's gonna reset. It's gonna be one final battle, big explosion, and then there's just, when we leave, it's just gonna be one timeline, right? So Deadpool and all these other people will be in one timeline, and you kill everyone else. So I'm sorry, but you know, none of the old X-Men, everyone that you can't use anymore, they won't be there.
Right.
And then you'll probably bring in new X-Men. You'll bring in the new, whoever's going to be playing the young people that will be playing Wolverine and Professor X.
Or like the young Avengers that they keep
That's true.
talking about, but they're all
going to
like
be 30
in their
at this point, yeah.
I think some of them already are in their 30s.
But with the Tony Stark variant, the only problem I have with that is I actually like the idea of that. But Doctor Doom is such a good character. He deserved
To be his own.
and to have movies of like, you know, he starts in the back of Fantastic Four, right? And then he slowly builds up. Because Doctor Doom is one of those, like, he is a good bad guy too. Where like everything he does is because he wants to, like, you know, make his country better, right? He just goes about it sometimes the wrong way. And I buy that all the time.
I don't think I really have any experience with Doctor Doom. Like I didn't read any of the comics, and I mean he hasn't really been in any.
He's a dictator, but it's like, you know, he wants to be a dictator to give people, like, you know, no one's hungry, no one is, you know, killed, there's no, you know, crime, that kind of stuff. Because he's a genius. He's a cool character, so I just don't know if they're gonna give, like, I feel like they're rushing Doom to throw in Robert Downey Jr. So hopefully, though, this Doom could be reset at the end of Secret Wars, and then with the new X-Men, then you have maybe a new Doom, and you get the full, I don't know.
Do you think any of the character or any of the actors that they listed are going to be in it as a different character than what we know them as?
No. I think they're all purposely. The only thing I have beef with that is that, like, why do some characters, like, how come Doctor Strange is Doctor Strange in the multiverse? Yeah, Picard, but Patrick Stewart is Professor X in all the universes we've seen so far, but then Reed Richards is John Krasinski in one. Like, I think they messed up on that. I don't think they really thought of that. But then how come, you know, then Robert Downey Jr. shouldn't be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, is Chris Hemsworth going to show up because he's Captain America in a different universe?
But he's also Johnny Storm, Johnny Blaze.
Well, yeah.
He's dead, but still, like, why? You know what I mean? But then why is he not? Then why is this other one in this other universe? I think that was inconsistent. Because then when they used Kang, he was the same dude for every variant. So there's some it's pretty bad inconsistencies there with why are some always the same, why some aren't.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. I think, I know they shouldn't have done that. They wouldn't have known, but everyone should have been the same. Like Tony Stark should be Robert Downey Jr. in every universe. Reed Richards should be Pedro Pascal in every universe.
Yes.
But they just, they weren't really thinking ahead on that. So, it is what it is. I don't think for a second when Doctor Strange, Cumberbatch, and Elizabeth Olsen were like, well, we're not in these. Bull.
Yeah.
That dump truck full of money says, you're going to be on it. Number one answer.
Well, and I said that too. I'm like, so are like Gamora and Scarlet Witch the only two characters that like can't possibly come back for this? And Ryan was like, anyone could come back.
Hang on, baby. But again, they may do the Infinity War where we didn't see some people because it already is a lot. And they're clearly going to be groups. Like, they're going to do Infinity War where, like, someone's clearly on Wakanda, doing Wakanda stuff, a group of them. Someone's in maybe New York. Someone's in the Void. I think the Void is going to be, the Void from Deadpool will be the Secret War fight. Because in the comic books, it was Battle World, I think, where they went. It was this planet where that's where all the universes came together. I think the Void is that, clearly because of the way they've played it with Deadpool and Loki. So I think there's going to be a group in the Void. There's going to be a group in Wakanda. There's going to be a group somewhere else. And then I do think they're going to kill off a ton of people between these two movies, though. A ton. Because I think they really need to get it.
Well, because some of them already got killed off and then brought back.
Yeah. I think by the end of this, because the multiverse has been a mess for a multitude of reasons,
I think they want to streamline it. So when we come out of Secret Wars, there's not going to be any confusion. It's going to be one timeline. Just look right here. Whoever survives it, that's who's available for next movies. And then we'll bring in the real X-Men.
Yeah.
That's my goal. My guess.
And then maybe one day we'll have Young Avengers.
Probably not.
I'm really excited for the Young Avengers, but I just don't feel like it's ever going to come together.
They're already old.
I know, but I really liked all of the new characters that they brought in. But
Got Wanda's boys. But they were young.
well, but Billy was in Agatha. He's
But
not.
Billy's been out. He old.
I mean, he's probably the youngest one,
Kate Bishop.
actor-wise.
Kate Bishop.
Ms. Marvel.
Ms. Marvel. Hulk's son that we randomly saw in She-Hulk.
Yes.
I feel bad for She-Hulk. First off, I liked She-Hulk, the series. The animation was atrocious. The CGI was some of the worst I've ever seen. But the whole story was really good, and I like her, kind of fourth wall breaking too. I think she got did dirty a little bit.
We watched another Screen Crush video where Colton was talking about like who he thinks will be in the other 25 chairs to be announced. And he was like, and then it's going to be all the people that you were missing from the first time. She-Hulk. And I turned around and I was like, nobody was missing She-Hulk from that group.
I was missing She-Hulk.
I didn't love it as much as I loved the comics. I just didn't.
I just feel like you can't do these characters and not put them in, even if you bring them in just to kill them off.
Yes.
And again, I'm
agree.
referring to Doomsday and Secret War as one gigantic movie.
No, if you're going to bring it all together, you have to bring it all together.
Yeah.
You can't just like leave out one or two random things. But I was just saying, like, no one was like crying because She-Hulk wasn't the main character of the movie.
I like She-Hulk.
I don't know. It just could have been so much
But
better.
Hawkeye wasn't in there.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. But everyone says the Spider-Man movie is going to be in between the two. So Spider-Man's going to be doing his own thing. And nobody knows who Spider-Man is. We forget this, remember? No one knows who Spider-Man is.
Yeah, I did forget that.
That was the whole point of the third one.
Yep.
They erased it.
Especially because I then have since watched like Miles Morales. Oh, that's the other thing. I think Miles Morales will be in it. But yes, between watching that and then the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, like I've forgotten that no one knows Spider-Man right now.
I actually think they'll eventually retire because Tom Holland's not going to do it forever. And Miles Morales, even though he will be Spider-Man, he will be like, that is your Spider-Man when Tom Holland eventually says, deuce.
Yeah. He's been playing it for a long time already.
He's 58, I think.
He mystically aged beyond us.
He's got a wedding to pay for and then he's out. But yeah, and I think a lot of things too, like you couldn't bring Captain Marvel back until the second one because she's too powerful. So they have to watch that too. Like they're going to have characters that for whatever reason, they'll say like, oh, she's off doing something because she shows up and goes, bzz, and then,
right. And then the whole thing is done. Yeah.
And credits. So, but yeah. But Doctor Doom, Reed Richards, and Professor X are the smartest men who've ever manned, apparently. So having them two, like those three having like scenes together, if at all possible, ooh, about to make a name for
I was going to
myself.
say, and Gambit was in there. Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah. I haven't been excited for Marvel stuff in a while, so.
I'm excited for Fantastic Four, too.
Me too. It was a good summer.
Yeah.
And then next year, Doomsday.
Whoop whoop.
Is that it?
I think so. My voice just cracked,
Yeah.
so
Well,
I think
I gotta go to work, so.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.